Lads, we're back.
Adam,
Woo!
Mike,
Alex, how are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm fine. Gonna talk about some coaching changes that just happened. First off, though, Daniel's not here because he's got stuff going on. He's cool, just, OUC stuff and all that. So, we recruited someone in. No one else, the unofficial fourth member of the show. Mike is back. Mike, how are you?
I am good, boys. Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
I think we're fine.
Is that an acceptable introduction?
I mean,
Why'd you leave that?
I was expecting. I was waiting for your eminence. I was waiting for his excellency, but it's okay.
We're not
I know
getting-
where our respect level is at.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Gentlemen, there's a lot we get to talk about today, but we're obviously going to talk about the biggest story in hockey right now. And as earlier today, the Montreal Canadiens, they've saved my soul because they have finally fired Dom Ducharme. And the interim head coach, I was fascinated because you can't do it to Burroughs. You can't make it Richardson because he's not French, and you've got that rule. It's Marty St. Louis as the interim for this season. So I think before we go too deep into Marty St. Louis, because that's going to break Mike, the Rangers fan here. Let's just rewind a bit and saw what led up to the firing. We know the Canadiens have 8 wins this year. It's not looking good. I think it's 30 regulation losses, then 7 in overtime. Not great at all. They lose yesterday to the New Jersey Devils 7-1. The Devils, who I believe were on a 7-game losing streak. They didn't have Blackwood. They didn't have Hughes. The Canadiens, who have only had this thing of we had some rest as opposed to when they played in January again after COVID. Guys had more time to relax, back from vacation, back from Mexico. And they got stomped 7-1. That loss felt a bit different from the rest of them. And just like that, Dom Ducharme is finally gone. Before we send it to Mike, because I feel like he wants to just tell about, because we were playing NHL after the second period because I wasn't watching the third. Just give him his reaction and me seeing all the goals as they popped up in my notification feed. Alex, after that New Jersey game, were you thinking that was it?
I mean, it had to be it at some point. And I think, and I don't think it's just that one game that led me to say, wow, that's it. I think it was, I don't remember who originally tweeted it, but it was going around 33 goals in 5 games, 33 goals allowed in 5 games.
I think that was Renaud Lavoie who was tweeting that about.
Like, that's bad.
Adam didn't appreciate when I echoed that tweet to him yesterday.
I'm sure I wasn't.
Like, that's got to be like, this is done. Like, you've lost the room. Something's wrong. Like, there's injuries and there's the COVID issue that was in December, but that's almost inexcusable. Like, that is inexcusable.
I'm almost impressed he lasted this long this year.
I know, right? It felt like I made an example in my video where I'm pretty sure I think it was the year after they won the cup in '93, or maybe even the year after, that Jacques Demers started the year like 0-5 and he got fired for Mario Tremblay. And then obviously look what happened with Tremblay and Watt. It ruined the franchise for a decade more to now. And Dom Ducharme just got so much leeway. A part of it seems to be was the financial side of it. He's just in the first year of a 3-year deal that pays him around $1.7 million. We know if Claude Julien's $5 million is being paid for this year. So it's basically, it's 6.7 in cap. Not in cap, sorry, but in dead money going to coaches, not to coach for you. And the Canadiens haven't had fans in the stands consistently for years now. So there's a financial side to it.
That's Mike, almost as much as the Arizona Coyotes would make playing at ASU.
That was a good tweet of yours, Alex. That was a good tweet of yours.
I had to repeat it on the show.
You got to sell a year to college students to pay one coach. Mike, do you want to give your perspective as you and I were playing Chell yesterday and I refused to watch the third period?
Oh, it was so funny. So funny. So we're playing Shell, which means that, and to put into perspective, Adam and I regularly play NHL together, and he's already extremely flustered because the majority of the time I usually win. Although, in all fairness, he played very well yesterday in our final game. But so it just puts into perspective how bad this game was, that he was willing to leave that game where he was flustered by that game to do something less flustering. And NHL with me is not less flustering to him. But every single goal that went in, like I think what was it, like 5-1, 4-1 when we started playing?
So at the end of the second, when New Jersey had scored to make it 4-1, I texted you saying "Chell" in 10 minutes. I then walked downstairs, sat on my bed, and before the period had ended, they made it 5-1.
And I didn't know what the score of the game was. I thought it was like 2-0. And I was like, oh, what's the score of the game? And he's like 5-1. I was like, ooh. And then we kind of ignored it because every time his phone rang, it was like the notification of the score. We were just quiet. It was like the Hunger Games, you know, at the end of the competition day, the cannons fire for every person that perished. That's literally what it was. It was just dead silence as the goals just kept coming.
Brutal.
I want to talk about it.
But at least Brett Kulak scored.
I was very happy about that. For a second, I thought that Paling deflected it, but it turns out it was Brett. So that if they had taken that away, like that was there was this play where Churi Lehkonen had the hand eye and he like batted the puck out the air and he hit the crossbar. And you're like, first off, that is the most Lehkonen play I've ever seen. The guy, great chances and hits the post. You love to see it. But it was just Jeff Petrie wasn't great. There was another goal, I forget, it may have been the third one or fourth one, where Jeff Petrie is on the right side and he follows the puck carrier who crosses over to the other side of the ice. Left side of the, let's say, defensive zone, but offensive zone perspective for New Jersey. He follows the puck carrier and then abandons the right side of the ice. And then, boom, a devil comes, scores. I think it may have been McLeod's second goal. And you're just thinking, what's going on here? It was a horrible night for him and Kulak beside Brett's goal. And Petrie's mental game has just been non-existent this year.
It's funny you bring up Jeff Petrie. I was scrolling through Cap Friendly this afternoon. I was definitely not in class. And I saw a trade proposal between Edmonton and Montreal. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, let's see what this is. So it had, I don't remember the details specifically.
Wait, hold on. Was it an Oilers or Habs fan that set it up?
Oh man, I'm not sure, but
okay.
I'm not sure, but the trade involved Jeff Petrie going to Edmonton and Tyson Barrie going to Montreal. And as you're describing Jeff Petrie, I'm like, wow, that trade would be horrible because it'd be worse.
You're trading the same type of player. Barry's younger, yeah, but it's your talent. Honestly, first off, I think Barry's a lesser offensive player, to be honest. And it's just you're trading the same type of player for it just doesn't make sense.
And it'd be full circle for Jeff Petrie going back to Edmonton.
That's true, yeah, because he loved it there so much. You know what? He would fit in a lot more there, but then again, they need some defensive help, not offensive help. Anyway. So what happens there is we go today, and there were whispers from French reporters that it looked like Dominic Ducharme was going to go. Then it happened. It actually happened. And what's very interesting is in the press release at the bottom, the last line was, the next head coach will be named later today, which then led to a few hours of pure speculation. You're thinking, which was hilarious. Every name was out there. You saw Babcock. It felt like apparently whatever station Guy Boucher works for, he wasn't part of the panel talking about the firing. So everyone kind of thought, oh no, it's Boucher.
You think they did that on purpose?
Maybe he was, I don't know his normal schedule, but maybe it was just Boucher's gone. So anyway, but no, it wasn't Guy Boucher. It wasn't Patrick Waugh, which I'm sure he was probably licking his chop. Maybe it's going to be me. It wasn't Alain Vigneault, which people were scared of. It wasn't Claude Julien. It wasn't Pascal Vincent. The interim head coach, who will speak to the media tomorrow at 11:30 a.m., the Hall of Famer, the former Tampa Bay Lightning, the former New York Ranger, I'll never forget 2014, Marty, so they can't swear. It's Marty St. Louis. I did not see this coming at all. I was blindsided by this decision. Marty?
Marty Tree Trunks.
Marty, the original, like, my goodness, look at those calves.
That guy's gone. That that guy's got legs to just that can.
Yeah, not even just his calves. His thighs are huge.
His thighs are bigger than my entire upper body.
Legit, some cracks
one
and nuts
thigh
between those
per my
legs.
body.
Oh my god, huge.
So you have a short king who will proceed to coach another short king in Cole Caulfield. Anyway, your guys' initial reaction, and what we'll do is we'll start with Mike because it is the former Ranger. First off, your reaction when you're a very beloved Ranger, beloved player. Great story with Marty St. Louis, the Hall of Famer, undersized player. Really fought to get into the league. First it was Jeff Gordon. Now it's Marty St. Louis going to the Habs. How do you feel, Mike?
Like that, no wonder he ended up there because of JG. But also, it's I'm happy for him. As upsetting as it is that he's going back home, it's, obviously, as a Rangers guy, I didn't get the full Marty St. Louis experience. Marty St. Louis is remembered as a Tampa Bay Lightning. He's always going to be. But, Marty St. Louis scored that Mother's Day goal in the Garden. He was there in that Stanley Cup final where, he was there among legends. Rick Nash got to his Stanley Cup final there. Hank got to his Stanley Cup final there. Marty St. Louis was part of that, and he was a very vital part of the club. So, and I always knew that he had a future in hockey. He had a future in the NHL. I know that he said that he was going to take some time to focus on his family. And he's been retired for how many years now? I think
I'll double check.
He has not played in the league since 2015.
2015. Wow. Okay. I keep thinking it's 2020. But Marty hasn't played for a long time. And he said that he wanted to dedicate his time to his family. And rightfully so. He has some young kids that are growing up. And to my knowledge, he was coaching their Pee Wee AAA team this year.
Yeah.
And now imagine being that minor hockey team. Imagine being on the bench like one game before. And the coach tells you where you're going to be going through at practice. And the next day you find out he's in the NHL. And you're like, okay, anyways. But I'm very happy for Marty. I know, there are certain players that GMs and or notable people in hockey say have a future in the game after the game. Not everyone really has a future in the game, like in managing or in coaching after the game. But Marty's one of those guys. It takes me back to when when Brian Burke said on Spit and Chicklets that he was like, oh, Gabriel Landeskog, he's one of those players. He is going to be a general manager in the NHL one day. And it took me back to how many people said the same thing about Marty St. Louis, about how much he, despite being older, despite being shorter and having a much different route to the NHL, not being the top prospect, he was just one of the boys. So I think it's a great hiring. I really hope it works out for him. I really hope he can help at least maybe not turn the ship around, but at least kind of course correct it, because it's, the bar's a little low right now. And yeah.
Alex, what do you think the first job that Marty St. Louis is going to have? What's his number one priority going for the rest of the season here?
Implementing a system that fits with the future or what the future should be of the Montreal Canadiens and in the
immediately
eyes
plays Cole Caulfield on the fourth line
of Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes, which is a fast offensive team. And I think you'll get that from Marty St. Louis.
By the way, he also apparently won the season around 2019. He was doing some consulting work with the Blue Jackets regarding special teams with John Tortorella back there. I'll never forget when Marty St. Louis retired, by the way, that John Tortorella was at his retirement ceremony, was like, man, he was a bastard to coach. That was really, really funny. But his big thing is, honestly, he's going to have to the development of their young core is going to be so important, aka he needs to be a coach that can understand and really learn how to use Cole Caulfield. That's my big thing is, man, just a bit of trust in the young man. You know what I mean? They need to, and I've talked about this before, the culture of making sure young players are comfortable and aren't afraid to make mistakes.
He's building that confidence, man. Because
Sorry?
that's the thing. Cole Caulfield has no confidence being in a bottom six role like this.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anything, I think just hearing this hiring already, Caulfield must be like, okay, who slowly starts to bring it back up. And I hope that helps a lot. It's like a shock charge to him.
It's, Caulfield fell in his draft. Like, he did. He shouldn't have gone 15th. And you can guarantee he fell because of his size. Now, the moment he touched the NHL, he was a superstar. It was incredible how good he was. He comes off winning the Holy Baker, the World Junior Gold. He was great. And then this season has just been like one goal for Cole Caulfield. That's not enough. That's not. And he can't have.
Which is tough because, like, I don't want to ruin your parade, but, like, I mean, there was a lot of expectations for him to be the Calder winner, if not at least a Calder finalist.
I had him as the winner. I was like, he'll score 20 goals, no problem. And no, absolutely not. So get him going. You loan in a chance too. You like to see that guy. A lot to do there. Marty, please save the team. Please save the team. It's going to take a while. See, here's what's going to be rough for St. Louis too, is I don't know how much practice time they're going to have because this is when the schedule picks up too. Yep. February and March are just such a pain for the Habs, as there's so many Canadian teams right now. So,
and that goes into account with what JG and Hughes are going to be thinking, because to tell you the truth, barring disaster, there's no way that Marty doesn't coach next year, because it's like Sheldon Keefe. He'll have his time to get in there, implement his own systems, and have a proper training camp and have a roster that looks a little more like what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, I'm telling you, unless something happens, like where they're actually even worse, or they have the opportunity. I don't even know what free agent coaches are out there right now, but they have the opportunity to scoop up somebody with a much better pedigree. I'm already thinking he's going to be the coach next year.
Give him like a 2-year extension, and then at the end of that, it's like, all right, Mario, let's see what we're doing here.
Like exactly what they did with the Leafs with Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to Montreal. I want to talk about something else here regarding the Habs, and then we can move on from there. PK Subban was talking to the media. First off, he had some really good things to say about Carey Price that people should try and look. And naturally, with the sort of change in direction that the Habs are going in right now, he was asked. So this is from John Liu, the tweet. New Jersey Devils Subban invokes Kevin Garnett's anything's possible regarding his future. When asked about a potential return to Montreal as a UFA, he said, "You want to play where you're wanted," says Subban, who appreciates New Jersey trading for him, adding, "Montreal will always be a home for me." I think it was fair to say if Bergevin was in charge, he was never going to come back. But we know since Subban left, I think there's been like videos on his YouTube channel of him like vlogging in Montreal. There's ads about him coming back to the city. His best years were in Montreal. So if you're getting rid of Jeff Petrie and you want to defend, think of it like this. You know who Alexander Romanov was a big fan of growing up?
Okay.
Andrei Markov.
Oh yeah, I do remember you mentioning that.
Who did PK Subban? Who won PK Subban and Norris Trophy? Andrei Markov. Is it not poetic for then what PK could do is come back to Montreal when the guys who got rid of him are gone, build that trust, make him feel wanted, and then he helps teach the next generation of Canadians defensemen. Now that they seem to be going in a direction where PK Subban and his style of play would have really been wanted, as opposed to the very defensive style they've had for like a decade now.
Yeah, I think I think there's a lot of benefits off the ice to bringing PK Subban in, but PK Subban is not the PK Subban of 5 years or
3-4 years ago.
3-4 years ago, whenever he got traded out of Montreal. Like, and I don't mean that because of the teams he's played on are bad. I just think his body is not the same body that it was 4 years ago. And that's going to that's taken a toll. Like, it's visibly taken a toll, especially on his back, as we know.
Michael.
I hope if he does, then Marty teaches him to stop slew footing.
That's That's a very good point.
In all seriousness, no, it would be interesting. It's like coming full circle. I mean, the city of Montreal, PK has such an outstanding legacy with the Habs fan base because, like, ultimately, when PK was traded, the fan base was not happy.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
sure, Shea Weber's happy. Shea Weber's Shea Weber, and it both worked out in different ways. But you know, that regime that was leading the Montreal Canadiens is now gone. My question is, how much money are you bringing him in for?
It's not like he can really command like. I wouldn't hate if they gave him like a 2-year deal and gave him like 5. Because obviously he's not making 9 anymore. But if you bring him in on a shorter term deal and make him be like, PK, you can be a leader here. Obviously,
Like
you're not going
4.
to give him like $7 million or that. I don't know who would even give it to him, but
I think 4 is generous.
really,
I think 4 is generous. I think he's just lost a lot of his mojo. PK has one of the most phenomenal edge work. Has some of the most phenomenal edge work I've ever seen in the game, in the sense that it looks really clunky, but it still works, and that's how it's always been. And not to mention that he has a hell of a shot. So I just wonder, what would it be like if he was on a better team? What maybe he could command more. I don't know. I think 4 would be a safe bet.
here's why I say 5. Is beside the right-handed defenseman thing, how difficult it might be bringing free agents to Canada next season,
This is true.
which we know is going to be a problem. No, I don't think PK needs the money, but you have the heart. Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna make a joke. Finish what you were gonna say.
No, go ahead. It's just PK. Bring him back.
No, I was gonna say I wasn't sure if it was gonna be difficult for Canadian teams. Gary Bettman wasn't convincing enough.
He's a butt. He's such a butt.
You know what,
Yes,
though?
sir.
That's the thing, though. Do you really think it's going to be that hard?
I mean,
It depends on the market.
well,
I
I mean,
mean,
it depends on if an election happens or not.
Okay,
like
you're talking Quebec then. You're not talking...
no, I'm talking on Ontario too.
Okay, Ontario as well.
Ontario's having an election.
But, I mean, Toronto, Alberta, all those teams are different, yeah, but I think, the league is starting to move past and start playing. I mean, it's different. I mean, Canada's obviously suffered a lot more than the United States markets have, but I have faith that it'll be better next year.
hey, man, I'm hoping too. I'm just going off of what's out there.
I
My
do
faith
think
is more so on what teams are. Like, Calgary's not going to be that good next year. Montreal's still not going to be that good next year.
I still think it's going to be hard to bring. Like, I think it's just generally hard. Like pre-COVID, like what was Brian Burke always said? If you have an 8-team no trade list, it's the 7 Canadian teams and Buffalo.
Mhm.
I just unless something miraculously has changed, I don't see that changing. Like we saw it here in Toronto. Like one of the reasons, other than the fact that he got 3 years, but Zach Bogosian left. One of the reasons was because of the restrictions. Like that was the rumor. I would believe it. I think all 3 of us would believe that. Like it is an issue.
The
Of course, and not to
deadline,
mention the whole taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah. The deadline is
think-
going to be interesting. Like maybe if it's better by the summer, but the deadline, getting guys to waive clauses is probably going to be really difficult. We'll get to Calgary a little later because they're pretty. It looks like they're going to maybe make a move, but listen, PK, if you're listening, please come back. Please come back. It was so nice. Come on, teach the young kids. Gooley and that. Love this. Come on, PK. You know you want it, buddy. Come on.
take the kids out for a night on the town, PK.
Yeah, you know he knows the spots. Come on. Okay.
Today's episode is brought to you by Pair Networks. If you have a business, you need a website. What's the best way to get a website up and running? Choosing a website hosting service that makes it simple, like Pair Networks. Pair has over 20 years of experience managing the entire digital ecosystem for thousands of online businesses all around the world. Pair makes it easy for you with do-it-yourself website building tools and features, including simple drag and drop page design. And they have guaranteed US-based support technicians ready to help you whenever you need it. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, when you sign up with Pair Networks, you will receive 1 free month of web hosting. See for yourself how easy it is to build your website for free. Visit pair.com/free to get your first month of website hosting for free by using the code QUICKSTART. That's pair.com/free, promo code QUICKSTART, all one word, to get started today.
Today is a bit of a sad day for the world of hockey because we say goodbye to probably the greatest goaltender in Maple Leafs history. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Didn't play a game. Congratulations to Tuukka Rask, the Boston Bruins goaltender. He's got a Stanley Cup, not as the starter, but he's got a Stanley Cup in there. One of the greatest goaltenders in Finland's history. Gosh, they've got a lot of great goalies, eh? Rinne and that, great stuff. He tried to come back from injury. His stats were not great this year. Like Ben Bishop, it's just he tried to come back and the body doesn't seem to be right there. It's sad to see him go out like this, but what a freaking career for Tuukka Rask.
That guy is that guy is unbelievable. He's a very, very good goalie. I rate him extremely highly.
Yeah, I mean, Tuukka, it's sad. It really is sad. I mean, he would have been playing, like, the whole retirement thing aside, he would have played this year if he didn't have that injury to start with. So, you know, it's difficult with goalies. Your body just takes such a bigger beating over a longer period of time. And he actually just released a statement. It's really nice. I'm kind of looking at it right now, just quickly browsing it, talking about, you know, how heavy of a heart it is for him to retire. But I mean, hey man, this guy had a hell of a career. He was looked upon for every situation, for every team he's played for, as the go-to goalie, whether that's on the Olympic stage, whether that's in the world stage, World Cup of Hockey, whether that's in the Stanley Cup. He was he's one of the most legendary goalies to ever go out. And he was kind of funny, like all the videos that they made. You could tell that he had a very deep connection, not just his teammates, like, you know, guys like Torrey Krug. And I mean, obviously he was not with the Bruins, but you could see that they were close. Brad Marchand, Chara, and not even just that, but like his connection to the city of Boston. You know, you never really hear anything bad ever from Tuukka Rask. So, you know.
Funny you mentioned Torrey Krug. I just saw this statement actually. Krug to Amelie Benjamin on Twitter. Torrey Krug to me today, quote, "It's tough to put into words what he did for the Boston Bruins for 15 seasons. He's obviously at the top of the stats for goaltenders in one of the most storied franchises in the NHL. And his play speaks for itself. I think having a backbone like him, just how good he was for all those years, it gave us the confidence, and we had nothing to worry about playing in front of him because we knew he was going to show up nightly, and he definitely did it. So, man, he was. It's really sad to see the goalies that we've sort of seen slowly leave the game over the past couple of years. A little longer ago, but Luongo, Bishop, Lundqvist. It wasn't to do with his knees or a back, but his heart. But like guys going out, and yeah, I'm sure he would have liked to have won a cup as the starter. He got close against St. Louis, but things just don't go that way. And then we might see it soon with Carey Price too. It's a real shame. Even like Jay Fresh was putting up some numbers about some of like the more advanced stats to do with goalies, and Rask is right up there with the best of them. Just man, it's going to be tough for the Bruins. Bergeron's not playing tomorrow. Who knows what he's looking like? He's getting older. The Bruins now with Rask on, the Bruins are going to look very different next year. It really feels like it. Even if Bergeron doesn't retire, he's coming to Montreal and Nick Suzuki, so don't worry about it.
I was interested. I mean, Swayman is the goalie of the future. And it was hard to see him go back to the AHL. I mean, I know you got Allmark in there, but I mean, Swayman doesn't belong in the AHL.
No,
Swayman is an NHL goalie. So, I told Adam this a while back when him and I were talking about what lies ahead for Carey Price. And the reality is, even just in the NHL in general, but especially with goalies, you really never ever get to dictate the way you go out. In the NHL, much less alone. But him and I both talked about it, at least when it comes to Hank. Hank didn't play a single game with the Washington Capitals, and he was under contract with them for a year. Carey Price, he signed for how many more years? 3?
I think it's like 5.
Yeah, 5 more years. The reality is it's not going to end that way. And, Tuukka, he's dealt with so many injuries over the past few years that, even when you get to the Stanley Cup final and, when you lose, there's nothing more crushing than it. And that was only in 2019. We knew the window was closing, at least for the Bruins, but this really affirms it to me that the window will be effectively closed within the next year or two.
Yeah, he's got to be one of, if not the best goalie to play for the Boston Bruins.
I'm trying to think who are. I want to say Tim Thomas. Fair enough, but
yeah,
I was gonna say
Jerry Cheevers.
I didn't want to look all the way back, but I was literally gonna say Jerry Cheevers.
Yeah, like their games played. He's leader in games played. He is essentially leader in save percentage behind Jeremy Swayman and Chad Johnson. So I'm just gonna remove them from that list, and in wins.
Yeah.
Like him and Tiny Thompson, and how is Tim Thomas top 5 in wins for the Bruins? I felt like he barely played. The Bruins have had like 4 goalies in their history, and they've all been like Hall of Fame level, and then Tim Thomas, who caught fire for like 3 years and then disappeared. What? That's so strange. And again, maybe if they had better goalies, Bobby Orr would have had a dynasty, but Ken Dryden was like, hey, what's up, buddy? And then, we all know how that went. Okay. We should also mention when we're at the Bruins here, Brad Marchand has 2 different, I think it's one hearing, but I've never seen this before, has a hearing in person for 2 different incidents to do with Pittsburgh yesterday. There was a bit of a hoopla, a bit of a brouhaha, a bit of a situation. Well, first off, earlier in the game, it was really funny. This clip came where they're in Boston, right? And Tristan Jarry's in net. And there's a Penguins, like a small child. And Jarry's like getting the puck ready to flip it over. It's more difficult for a goalie to get a grip than the player, right? So he's about to flip it. Marchand knocks the stick out of off of his stick, picks up the puck and skates away. Which was like, oh, come on. That's a child. I'm sure the kid got something anyway. I'm sure Jarry was like, can we do this? But it started because it wasn't just like, Jarry was like, just put his hands up. He skated after Marchand. So later on, towards the end of the game, there's the incident with Crosby and Bergeron, but no. There's this kerfuffle in front of the net. Jarry does hit a Bruin with his stick, by the way. Jack Edwards pointed this out.
Of course he did.
Yeah, but I wanted to give everyone a fair shake here. So it looked like Jarry. Yeah. I think it may have been who was it? Who's the guy we always make fun of? Coyle. I think it was Charlie. May have been Charlie Coyle who he hit. And in the ensuing chaos, Marchand gives a bit of a sucker punch to Jarry. Also, when the ref is trying to pull Marchand away from it, he gets his stick up and slashes Jarry too. It's an in-person hearing. I think it's happening soon, or it's
tonight.
Tonight. Mm-hmm. It's happening tonight. So in person, for those of you who don't know, gives them grounds to go more than 5 games here. I believe he was actually suspended earlier this year with the Panarin incident, or it was right afterwards and they dinged him. The other official thing was they added an extra game to his suspension because of the Panarin stuff. I don't know what Marchand gets here. Is it just going to be like, because how do you put this? Do you say like 2 games for each incident and you stack it? Or is it like, how do you add this up? Because there was red mist, it seems to be, especially with the slash.
I mean, I'm not gonna like. Are you saying like stack on what he did to Jarry about trying to pass the puck? Because that was nothing. That was all time. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. He's like,
not the stick. No, not the giving the puck to the.
You mean the stick to the face?
Yeah. Well,
no. I think that was I didn't think the punch was that bad. I mean, that was just Brad Marchand being Brad Marchand. I mean, we've talked so much about goalies, and truth be told, I think goalies need to start playing with a bit more balls, because if Aaron Dell can go out and rib a guy like Drake Batherson like that, then a goalie can take a small punch. That wasn't that bad. The stick,
but
go ahead.
No, I don't think that's the issue. Is that the issue is the issue is they're not engaged in a fight. Like Max Domi got suspended for that, for punching Eric Ekblad with a glove on. Like,
yeah, that was a sucker punch.
That was a sucker. No, I understand.
That first punch from Marchand didn't look that bad to me. It was the stick that was bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on, Alex.
It's not that. He punched him. Correct. Like he punched him. Like, is that if that's the rule? Like, okay, I'm not saying suspend him 50 games. I'm saying like he punched him. Like you got to suspend him. I'm still
saying the stick is worse than the punch.
Sure, he's going to get suspended for both. Like that's what's happening. Get
suspended for both. But if it was just the punch, he wouldn't have gotten an in-person hearing.
No, probably not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Honestly, it carries more of the stick because that goes through your eye. If that goes through your goalie mask, you're gonna end up like what happened with Thomas Wilcoon. Right. So like I'm taking that a lot. Like honestly, if the NHL were gonna go far with the punch, because of the fact that it's Brad Marchand, they'd give him like 2 games. But if it comes to this, they're gonna stack it on. That's why they're gonna make it like probably like 5, maybe 6. I just get blown out of the water by this, but yeah.
No, I just think it's ironic that like 2 months ago, Brad Marchand's like, well, I've cleaned up my game and like I don't do this stuff anymore. Why are they still suspending me like that?
Rat.
Okay, then don't talk like I'm fine. Like just then don't say that. Like you look like an idiot. Like, no offense. Like it's just you say something like that and then turn around and do that. I'd rather him just be a rat. I'd
not
rather
doing himself any other favor.
No, he's not. Like I'd rather just complain about him being a rat than have to say, "Well, Brad, you said this like 3 months ago." Like, come on.
So the hearing itself, I would assume there's going to be at least one game for both, because the tweet themselves do say that it's for the roughing / high sticking. So they're looking at both probably.
Right.
Yeah. So regardless, it's probably going to be. I don't see them probably going less than 4 because they pulled out the hearing, and I want to see even when Scheifele he got his in person, and that was 4, I think. Yeah. Was it 4? Yeah, because they got swept and he missed the first game of the year.
Mm-hmm. There's just
So I don't see it being less than 4, but because he's been suspended this year, I wonder if they raise it more. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like he concussed a guy. So, but it's because it's Marchand and he's done it. Like at least when Wilson's been suspended, I don't know if he's been suspended multiple times in a single season, but there's obviously he is a repeat offender.
He's done Marchand, like a year apart.
Not to mention another thing, I don't want to accuse him of anything nefarious. I don't think the league are very happy with Brad Marchand lately.
Right.
He's been very vocal.
He's been a little outspoken against the league.
Yes,
he's been talking a little too much for Gary Bettman and Bill Daly.
Making fun of the Hurricanes and the Olympics and all that type of stuff. Yeah, Brad Marchand.
He's not doing himself any favors. But at the end of the day, Brad Marchand is a veteran. He's an NHL veteran. He's going to do whatever the hell he wants. So
Sure. I don't think it was the Carolina Hurricane stuff that will get him in trouble. He went after the Arizona. He went after the Arizona Coyotes. Yeah. That's Gary Bettman's baby. I don't know. I think he does have a family, but like it's his business baby. He went after the Arizona Coyotes. That's not allowed. That's inexcusable.
Done so.
Would you like to see would you like to hear some breaking news from Marc-Olivier Baudin?
Sure.
He's finally coming to Montreal. Hearing Vincent Lecavalier will be named assistant to GM Kent Hughes and will be announced as soon as tomorrow.
Good.
He's finally coming to Montreal all these years later.
What the hell is going on today?
Is he assistant GM or assistant to the GM?
It looks like it's assistant to the GM, which is very interesting. All these years later, and Vinny's finally coming home.
So all this news is broken today, and a single game hasn't even been played for another 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
Interesting news day.
Yeah, no, it's a good cycle. It's a good cycle. I can't wait for the jokes to come out that the Habs are just bringing back all the former Tampa Bay Lightnings, though. That'll be interesting. Can't wait for that. On player safety note, there was another rather large brawl with Minnesota and Winnipeg. Adam Lowry and I think it was Marcus Foligno. There's only one Foligno on that team. Got into a fight and looks like there was a bit of a knee to Mr. Lowry. Also, did you see earlier in that clip of Lowry pulling a dude out of a scrum like he was Dustin Byfuglien? Yeah. That was great. I love that. What do you guys make of that incident and what discipline could be given there?
I mean, it's the NHL. Is how I don't expect them to do much.
It's about as consistent as the blue team in Hell's Kitchen.
Oh. What's the season? I think it's season 11, and it's like John's the only good competitor on that entire team. That was a bad one. Should have won. Not Mary. No, it was Janelle who won. Ridiculous. Not good enough for me.
It's not good enough for me.
The thing with the NHL Department of Player Safety is that if it doesn't get enough publicity, they won't properly enforce it.
The only one criticizing them is Andrew Shaw.
Right. Right. And well, like the thing here is though, like Minnesota and Winnipeg, like, yeah, people are talking about it, but everyone's talking about Brad Marchand right now. Right. So they'll properly enforce that one. This one, maybe it's just how the NHL Department of Player Safety works. You got to love George Peros. Got to love it.
I don't like him.
There's no former Habs slander tolerated here. So,
I mean,
just George Peros.
He's not good at his job. Never has been. I mean, do you know what he did? No, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into Tyler Myers concussing Joe Armia last year. Nothing. Get out of here. Oh, he's tall. So ridiculous. Okay. Looking else around the league, we talked about player safety. We'll see what happens. The suspension and probably the videos explaining it. Maybe we'll try and hit that next episode. That'll be fun. This is high sticking. This is biting.
I will never get over that. Like, that was ludicrous. That was honestly ludicrous.
How many games did Brendan Lemieux get again?
Not as much as we expected.
Not enough.
Five games.
That's so ridiculous.
He bit a human being.
He ate a dude. He bit him twice. He went back for seconds.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I can't believe that. It was only 5 games.
We miss you, Pep. We miss you.
No, the Rangers. I don't know. Okay. Where else can we look around the league? I think we can. Oh, you know what? Because we got Mike here and he's a big fan of Mr. Jack Eichel. It's so weird calling him Jack because every time we play Chell, we call him John Eichel. Very weird.
That's his birth name.
Well, is that actually John?
Yeah, I remember seeing on Reddit somebody that went to school with him posted a picture of his yearbook, and it was him as a kid, and it was John Eichel.
Really?
Yeah, like he was like in like the 1st grade or something.
Yeah, it's John Robert Eichel.
Robert. Well, John Eichel. Let's talk about John Eichel. So right now, the Vegas Golden Knights, people I think are going to look confused by this. So because the cap is a joke. So right now, their projected cap is $91 million. Their LTIR used is just over 10. Now their current cap space is 4.8 and some change afterwards. So they need to clear just over $5 million for Jack Eichel's $10 million cap hit to come. We've known for a while, and it sounds like Vegas have known obviously as well, that they have to make a move to fit him under the cap. And they've done this before. We all know what happened with Nate Schmidt and that. They're not afraid to make their moves. So the real question is, who is the guy who's going to get moved? I'm going to start with Mike here because we have had this. I believe the 3 of us actually had this discussion at a viewing party the other day. So go ahead, Mike. What's the move? How did they get Eichel in here?
We talked about how they need to move, 4.3?
Yeah, it's around there, 4.3, around going towards like 5-ish.
Mm-hmm. I think the best, it sucks But the best move is to move Riley Smith, because Riley Smith, he's got a $5 million cap hit, and he's going to be easier to trade for that value than, say, Evgeny Dadonov, who makes the same amount of money, because of the fact that at least you can get rid of Riley Smith now and then not lose him for nothing in the summer. It sucks because Riley Smith is one of the original Golden Misfits. He was an integral part to everything that they've had up till now. But it's Jack Eichel. So I think and also Evgeny Dadonov's got a modified no trade clause. So it's going to be easier to move Riley Smith. I think you send him, I don't know where you send him, honestly, but he's going to be a captain. Because
I think I know where he goes.
Let's hear it.
So think of it like this. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they acquired Dadonov before, when did they get him, the draft?
In the summer.
Yeah.
In the summer, so before they got Eichel.
Yeah.
I was about to say, what if there's a galaxy brain that they got him knowing that they were going to have to move a contract and Riley Smith was up? So, Dadonov sort of fills in that scoring winger role. And
I don't think they should bring in anybody, though. I think they should just dump him.
Well, no. So what I mean is just I was thinking maybe there was this whole galaxy brain that Denon they always knew, but they didn't because it was months before. Because here's what I'm thinking: Riley Smith, he can score. We know that he always has. Going back to Florida days, it was so dumb that they got rid of him, but they're good now, so who cares? A team that we know needs scoring. We're going to talk about a little later. Maybe Calgary fits in there. That's a guy we could go to. Alex, what about you? Is Smith the move?
I was gonna say Dadonov, or Dadonov, but I mean Riley Smith is a good shout. He's a UFA. If you're not gonna re-sign him or you don't think you're gonna re-sign him, you might as well, I guess, move him because you're gonna bring Jack Eichel in. But if you think you can bring him back, I'd say move Evgeny Dadonov. I don't think he has 21 points in 45 games this year. I'm sure there's teams out there who can use him. I'm sure if you call Ken Holland. I don't know, but or even Brett
money.
He doesn't care. He does whatever he wants, whatever makes the Oilers worse. But or Brad Treliving, you call Brad Treliving, talk about secondary scoring. You guys brought him up before. That is another move for them too.
And teams. Well, no.
Or Vancouver.
Yeah, no. Rutherford's smart. We can't make those jokes anymore. They figured it out. Yeah. They've got sensible people running the organization now.
I think it'd be smart, though, just to move him for the 5. Think about it. You still have to make some money work somehow, but they can do it if they send somebody down. But 4.3 out of that $5 million, that leaves you with $700,000. If you send a guy like this Danil Miramanov guy down, or Ben Hutton or something, that makes the money work. That now you don't have to worry when you bring back Adam Brooks or Zach Whitecloud or Jake Bischoff, whatever. Just for relief until you get to the playoffs. They're gonna coast into the playoffs. They're the best team in the Pacific. They're nasty. And then when they get to the Pacific, it's unfortunately we're not close enough to the playoffs that they can just keep strolling with this LTIR. They're not Tampa, but they're going to be nasty when the playoffs start.
If the playoffs started right now, they'd be playing St. Louis,
which would be just such a heavy series. Such a heavy series.
That'd be fun. Who starts? Billy Husso or yes, Billy Husso. What does Alex Martinez?
No. Before we go anywhere, you gotta explain the list.
Okay. So the list is
you gotta explain 2 things. You gotta explain goalies and you gotta explain the list.
So the list is over here. If I reach over, I might unplug my mic. Okay, so the list is very simple. So for context, so playing NHL with Mike is always an experience for me because I just don't have any goaltending. I never get goaltending. It's awful. Mike joked that he's going to put clips together of all my goaltending. They're awful. Benjamin,
I have a lot.
I had to play as Arizona, and Benjamin was looking the other way. for a save, like the other way. It's just awful. So then playing through, I made certain what I call the list. And it's a list of players that I'm benching anytime I use them because they've been so disappointing to me. Bowen Byram is one. Charlie McAvoy is another.
Wow.
Adam Larson, who cost me in an overtime game against Mike.
Who's the latest edition?
We're getting there. Hold on. Jordan Binnington is indeed on the list because he did a poke check when the guy's coming out of the corner. That was embarrassing. Did it twice, I think.
Missed.
Did you try to fight someone in the game too? Or
I wish I could.
Or is that just a real life thing?
No. Binnington also had a moment where I think he tried to play the puck and then I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, you gave it right back to me, yeah.
It wasn't good. And the final player is Conor McGavin. He made the list last night.
He made the list last night for an absolute
And this is
dismal
real.
effort.
When I also had Colorado last night, a game where I came back from 4-1 down but lost in the shootout because
Very impressive.
dumb. Thank you. Bowen Byram I sat him for Jack Johnson.
Wow.
I was so dedicated to the list.
Are they the same rating? Because I know in NHL 21 they were practically
I
the same
think Johnson's like a 1 point or 2 down, but Eric
Jack
Johnson's
Johnson's
at
like a
83,
79
which is
now.
not right.
And Jack Johnson's like a 79 now.
But anyway, Eichel, I can't wait to see it's going to happen soon, whenever the move is, because Eichel's out of no contact jerseys, it's so exciting to think he's about to start playing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's only going to need a couple more practices. I mean,
You know
think
what's-
about it. What was the timeline? We were expecting the month of February. March was stretching it.
Yeah, late February, sometime in March, I think it was after the Olympic break was the original timeline, I think.
When do the men start playing for ice hockey in the Olympics?
That's a phenomenal question.
Because
The
I
Olympics
said
started.
if they had went, I said he was going to make it. And he's cutting it. Obviously, he didn't go, but I'm just saying I wasn't far off there. Athletes are weird, man.
Mike, it's funny you say, has the Olympics started? The IOC must have called the NHL for some marketing tips because it's been marketed just as well as every NHL event.
Here you go. All right.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
The NHL.
I'm not having it today.
Why do Vegas have New York's 3rd round pick? What happened there?
Ryan Reeves. No. Yeah, Ryan Reeves.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
weird. That's a very strange one. Ryan Reeves, 2 goals this year.
Against the
Yeah,
Leafs.
when do you get them?
Against the Leafs. I said it before.
When does Alex Martinez come back? He's also on LTIR. Also, I love when they've got all this cap stuff coming up and they extended a few players at Vegas the other day. I thought that was really funny. Okay, so apparently per insider trading, Ottawa seems to be a popular team when it comes to trade calls. Says he has sellers from Pierre LeBrun. Great guy. If we're I think the name Colin White's been thrown around there. We know Eric Brandstrom's a bit of a guy who's out there. Rough year for Ottawa. I wonder, what else do they even have to? What do they have to sell? But isn't it a shame that didn't we joke Colin White was going to get traded, right before he really starts getting the money on his deal?
Yes, we did.
I just want to double check the
I
money
love
on that. If you guys want to quickly just talk about the Sens.
They don't have a lot to trade. I think I'm looking here. I mean, I wouldn't trade a goalie unless it's unless you're finding a partner for Matt Murray, who's not looked great.
I think they're just going to do what they can in the sense that we all know how much their owner likes to pay players. And Eugene loves paying players. And the reality is that they have a bunch of free agents to sign this summer, UFAs. And instead of losing them for nothing, I mean, if the price is right, he can fetch a couple picks or players signed to longer term for their negotiating rights, and so that they can boost a playoff team. Like a guy like Zach Sanford. Zach Sanford won a Stanley Cup with St. Louis. He's a physical player. Honestly, a guy like Zach Sanford's a guy that I would have liked the Rangers to go for to replace Sammy Blais. Same team that they played on that year as well. Nick Paul took a giant step last year, and he's looking to finally be a serviceable middle 6 to lower 6 on a contending team NHLer. Tyler Ennis is one of the greatest players of all time. You have Chris Tierney, who's always been serviceable. Josh Brown, what teams need defense? And I
All of
don't
them.
know about Anton Forsberg, but
Right.
think about it. Look how much they can weaponize for these players in the sense that how many teams need cap space? You know how many
All of them.
sweeteners? You know how many sweeteners this team that sweeteners that could be better than the players themselves. That they're like basically like in order to get these middle of the pack players,
Yep.
these teams are going to be giving you bad contracts in exchange for them, but they're going to have to throw some form of sweetener in there for it. So that's if Pierre doesn't royally F things up.
Not even that. They'll be the middle team for a 3-team trade.
Exactly. Exactly. Like we saw last year when they had to start getting creative. They can be a broker for many teams. So I think, I completely understand where they wouldn't be, they're going to be a popular target for sure, but they could be a popular target just as a broker alone.
You guys want to know the only player on this team that has a signing bonus who isn't on an ELC?
I have an idea, but I'm not confident in it.
So Mike says Kachuk. What do you say, Alex?
No, I said it isn't Kachuk.
Oh, isn't. Okay, who do you, each of you guess?
I think it's Thomas Chabot, but I'm not entirely sure.
Mike?
Did Connor Brown sign with them?
Yeah.
It might be down. Yeah, either Chabot or downtown.
Oh, it's
I'm looking under signing bonuses on Cap Friendly.
It's neither. Oh my god.
It's one player. He has 2 years left. He has a $2 million signing bonus this year and next.
Oh no.
Is Nikita Zaitsev.
Oh my god.
How could I not have known? Because he signed that contract with the Leafs.
I guess it came out since. But that's what I mean. I guess that's
I'll
hilarious.
never forget that trade. I was on my way home. I was driving home from New York. I was somewhere in Pennsylvania. And I was just having a bad day. I hate driving long distances. And then I see my phone and I just start laughing because Ottawa genuinely acquired Nikita Zaitsev from the Leafs for Cody Ceci.
And they matched him up against Matthews one night and he got destroyed because, of course. Just hit the mic. That didn't sound good at that. Whoops.
That's so funny. The one player who has a signing bonus didn't even sign that contract with the Senators.
That makes so much sense.
How did
that guy's been with the Senators for years?
How did Chabot and Kachuk not get those? What the heck? Man, Melnick's cheap. Staying on the trade front, though, the Flames, also from Pierre LeBrun, they look to be adding some secondary scoring. He also kind of added in that he could see the Habs and the Sens being natural trade partners. Okay, hold on. Who's a player who we know has played for Daryl Sutter? Stop. What am I doing? Why am I dumb? Who's played for them? Who's played for Daryl Sutter?
Yep.
Sittler, Suitors. There's so many of the bastards. For Daryl Sutter.
You can do it.
It's like saying preliminary. It takes me a while. Anyway, who's played for Big Daryl, won a Stanley Cup with him, and can score goals? Who is it? Who am I thinking of? And he plays for one of the Montreal Canadiens or the Ottawa Senators.
Tyler Toffoli.
Tyler Toffoli makes a lot of sense for me to go there.
It does. Like it feels like it's the perfect option. Mm-hmm. You're trading a guy within Canada who's already in Canada. And he's a second, like you're asking for secondary scoring and you're going to get it. Like you're going to get it. Look what he did when he went from LA to Vancouver. Look what he did last year with Montreal. Secondary scoring. Boom. You have it, Daryl Sutter. That's all you need.
And being part of that third line, the 70s line, I believe they were called, he was wicked there. Absolutely wicked for LA. So he's got term, so you feel like it's going to be a little more expensive, but the Flames, it feels like they're always in on something, but they never land the big fish. They've never done it. I'm not saying Toffoli's the big fish, but that's a damn good player for you to bring in, and there's cost control. $4.2 million for 2 years after this. Come on. And he doesn't have any trade protection. Let's go.
I got a couple of targets, I think.
Go ahead.
The Flames need two things.
Okay.
They need a puck-moving defenseman, and they need a top six forward. Names that come to me when I think of that defenseman, I think there have been a lot of links to Mark Giordano returning very quickly. I don't know how, but they maybe pull off John Klingberg. But then a couple other, even like a guy like Gustav Forsling. He'd be a good second pair defenseman. I don't know. I'm just throwing names out there when it comes to that. Or Ben Sherratt. But
I like the way you think.
But did you like you remember what was my scenario for Ben Sherratt yesterday?
You said, let me hold on a minute. I think you were like McDavid and Draisaitl or toast, sending them. Was that them?
No, it wasn't them, but I did send you something about Sherratt.
Did you send it on Instagram or text?
I DM'd it to you.
DM'd it? Okay, 1 minute. Wait. On Instagram or Twitter?
What do you think is a DM?
I don't. Both.
Instagram.
Oh, okay. Let me go find it.
Okay,
You send a lot of stuff on Instagram.
I proposed Stone and Pacioretty and
that was it.
for Sherratt.
Stone and Pacioretty. I love it.
But I mean, not even that. I mean, Tyler Toffoli, he would probably be the best option for a top 6 forward for them. Other options, I think, Josh Bailey. He's got another 2 more years with the terrible Islanders. Even a guy like Tuna or Gus Nyquist.
See, I went to go look at Seattle, and because you brought up Mark Giordano, which the connection has been made there, and I think that would be quite nice. That would be quite nice. Why don't you?
Hilarious.
Yeah, it would be. Why don't you?
Oh, that's fine. We can just trade with former teammates, but we're going to question Shea Weber not being able to play hockey. Because, Gary Bettman, look at me. Oh, my God.
Do you not like Gary Bettman?
I can't stand the man.
Really? I was going to suggest Mark Giordano and Jordan Eberle.
That's not bad.
After this year, he has 2 more years at 5.5. That's maybe a little pricey, but still, like, he has 26 points this year, 12 goals, and that's on Seattle.
May I interest you in a slightly used Jeff Petrie? It's got term. Yeah.
The way I think of it too, though, is like, what would you have to give up? Say for a guy like Eberle or for a guy like Giordano?
What would they want? Because we know Seattle they're gonna ask for a price and they're not gonna move on it,
cap
right?
space.
And then just they need to have a good deadline, but they have to. That's good. What you probably think it's a prospect in a second rounder?
I mean,
you want scoring help?
You got to dangle guys like Jake Pelletier, Connor Zary, Matt Coronado, also Dustin Wolf, who's arguably the best goaltender not in the NHL yet. They have some cost-controlled players that they can get rid of. Why'd your head dip like? Okay, like Dylan Dubé.
I leaned over to yawn.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's just what I think. Connor Mackey, reliable 2-way defenseman. You can throw him in for a Giordano trade.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe if you're Calgary,
I remember Juuso Valimaki. A lot of people talked about how he signed, yes, for another year, but a lot of people always thought he needed to change his scenery.
Probably Killington's the year Killington's happens probably pushed him down the depth chart a little bit.
It's Chillington because he's chill.
Chillington.
Man, there's a K. I don't care. It's a K. No. It's like how Borbietsky. No, it's Borrecki. No, Borbietsky.
Borwicki.
Where's the K and the X? No. Borbietsky. No. Come on. Let's be smart here. All 3 of us have weird last names, but they make sense when you look at the spelling. Flujay, Hanimian, Jagassar. They make sense. Oh, but it's like Brady Shea. It's like, how does that work?
Hanimian more so. I think my name's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, French people.
But Alex is just extremely Armenian.
Yeah, that is quite true.
That's a fact. I guarantee you, there's one Zach Bogosian jersey sale in Toronto, and it's me. I will say. And it's me. And then he went and they left. I was a little upset. And then I wanted to go watch him play. But of course, good old Doug Ford had to stop me from doing that.
Oppression.
Sorry, I had to yawn there. It's been a long day. Long day. I hate asynchronous classes so much. They rip the soul out of my body.
I hate classes.
Same. Okay. I hate not knowing what to call my school when I talk to people. I had my dentist the other day, right? Just cleaning after I got my braces off. And God, goodness gracious, I was like, there's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, yeah, I go to university at Ryerson. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to call it. She just laughs. Like, yeah, I get it. It's like
we had, before we get back to hockey, we had for my class for Learn to Journ.
Hashtag Learn to Journ.
we had the Queen's Park bureau chief of CTV and one of the top radio reporters at City News 680 come on. Very respected journalists, and they're like, dude, what do we call your school?
So I asked a professor for this pitch I was putting in, right? And I'm like, so for this pitch, do I say Ryerson or X University? And she told me whatever you like. I'm like,
wow.
I don't know what to say. And then in our next lab, she's like, I don't know what to call it either. Whatever we're going by. It's such a joke. It's been over a year and they still don't know what to do. Anyway, Alex, I don't know if we got to cut that part, but
worse, you could be the Washington football team for a year.
What are they called now?
The Commandos.
And then the team name that you come up with is worse than the Washington football team.
What is it? Team. The Commanders? The Commandos?
Commanders.
Close enough.
That's lame.
I was a fan of the WFT name. It kind of grew on me.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just needed a better logo than just the writing in a fancy font. I hate that. That's why I don't like the Capitals logo, because this is Capital. I miss the eagle.
Evgeny Kuznetsov is still playing. What are you talking about?
What?
Evgeny Kuznetsov is still playing.
No, he's the okay. All right. I should have walked into that one, didn't I?
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of like how the Leafs are walking through teams right now. Whoa!
What a segue.
That was a good one. So first game back from the break, the Leafs go against the Hurricanes. A bit of a thrilling game. But it was a great game for Peter Mrazek. He had some great stops, including the one on Sebastian Aho. That breakaway, I think that's the save you remember when you look back at that game. And I'm going to quote what Daniel put in the doc here because it was so good. Mrazek outduels Freddie like Mace avenging Kit Fisto. What Daniel doesn't mention is moments later, Anakin betraying Mace. But we won't mention that. Shout out to Kenobi coming.
Yeah.
This year.
Can't wait.
Also, I think Book of Boba Fett's finale comes out tomorrow. So once I'm done schooling that, I'm binging that entire season.
I'll be sure to tweet it.
I got a message at Gavin Axelrod and be like, can you please just wait a day?
No.
Please.
Not happening.
Don't do this. And by the way, Nintendo, the Direct happened. Where's Breath of the Wild 2, Nintendo? Where is it, Nintendo?
Yeah, Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo.
If you're listening, Nintendo. Release the game, Nintendo.
Where is it? Where is it?
Where is this game?
Where is the game? I need it. I need it so badly. Come on, respect. Okay. But
the Leafs.
I
thought it was. I wish Mrazek played like that. Like
it's
again, what? It's Mazarek.
Any team.
Against any other team. Like it was. I remember his first game after he came back from injury. He was just all over the place. I'm like, Mrazek, brother, come on, let's
brother,
let's slow down.
What are you doing, brother? We can't be losing the Coyotes here.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. Okay, you know what? I got us off track. No, I didn't mean
Mrazek mania is gonna roll all over you.
Ah, man. Next time he plays, we got to do that.
And he gets caught in a sex tape scandal. It's like, oh no.
I lost my train of thought, guys. So give me a second here.
You wished he played like that.
I wish he played like that all the time. Like, because last night, Carolina is not an easy team to play against at all.
They're so well coached.
They're very well coached. Yeah. Like ridiculously well. They're just so good.
They've robbed
the bod playing frisbee in at BMO Fields. Just ridiculous. But Mrazek surprised me last night. To be honest, the entire team surprised me a little bit. I thought that game was going to be quite difficult. The Carolina Hurricanes are probably I think in terms of point percentage, they're the best team in the East. No, they're not. Wow, they're the best team in their division, but still, they're a tough team to play against. What?
Second.
Second? What? No, they're not. They're first.
Best team in the Rangers.
What?
Go New York Rangers.
Okay, I apologize. They're whatever. They're one of the top teams in the Metro.
You know, the Rangers need to work on that 5-on-5 scoring, but go on, Alex.
How are the Habs doing?
Dead last, on track to get Shane Wright for all I care.
No, I
firing the second head coach firing in as many years. Let's go.
I can't wait to just be back here again with you for the draft lottery.
Yeah, we're gonna be at your place for it, and I'm gonna be crying. Tears. Anyway, where were Alex? I'm sorry.
The Hurricane. No, I don't like. It was just I thought they played well against the Hurricanes, and everyone loves to talk about. For some reason, people choose the teams in the West as like benchmark games. Not entirely sure why. But I think the teams in the East should be more benchmark games for this team. Carolina, New York, Florida, Tampa. So for them to go up against the Hurricanes and win and play the way they did, like keeping up with the Carolina Hurricanes, I thought is impressive.
The big thing is like when I hear, what was it against the Colorado Avalanche? They were like a cup final preview here. And you're like, they got to get through some teams in the East. So I'm like, that's another thing is you better mark yourself against the guys you got to get through in the first 3 rounds.
Right.
And the Hurricanes are going to be a team that they probably odds on, if you want to get to the finals, you got to go through them.
Yeah.
Unless they run into the Bruins, because then they're going to lose like they always do. But no one talks about how they always lose to the Bruins, by the way.
No, only the Leafs lose to the Bruins. Only the Leafs blow leads. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys. I'm not sure if you guys know that. Only the Leafs blow leads.
Yeah. Do you remember the last time there was a Game 7 between Montreal and Boston at TD Garden? That's like don't mind me. It
doesn't matter. Irrelevant.
It matters to me.
Irrelevant.
And then Marty St. Louis ruined them in the third round anyway, so it didn't really matter.
With just a beautiful one-on-one goal. I'll never forget that. But character win by Leafs, good for them. I made money that game. That's all that matters. Shout out Tony. Thank you. But I mean, we talk a lot about how absolutely stacked this Atlantic Division is. And I think now, especially, is the time that I have no doubt in my mind that I think Florida's coming away with this division. I think they're gonna. I don't know what deadline acquisition they can make, but they're just a well-oiled machine.
Like in terms of winning the division in the regular season or coming out of that bracket?
As in coming out with that top seed
in
the division. I think they'll come away with the first. They'll be playing whoever's the lowest wild card. I think they're better than Carolina, but I think now is the time where the Leafs, especially, they have 3 games in hand to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think they could really start, making some ground. I mean, the Bruins aren't going to catch up to the Lightning or the Leafs. I think they're just even going to get worse now. But the Leafs have a very favorable schedule in the next little while. They're playing
in terms of teams played. You mean?
Yeah, they're playing the Flame. Yeah. No, they got to. It's the NHL. You're playing like a freaking mule. But the Flames will be whatever the Flames are. Then you got the Nucks, the Kraken, Penguins, and Blues. Get that out of the way. Then you got the Habs, Blue Jackets again. You got to stop with the Red Wings. You got the Sabres, Canucks, Blue Jackets, Kraken, Coyotes, Sabres. Like the beginning of March. They should honestly just not lose a game until March 15th, between March 2nd and March 15th.
I'd very much like that, by the way.
I know you would, but I think this is the biggest test now where Sheldon Keefe can start slapping this team together and just like, come on, like this is where you can start making like getting past it, like all these like I don't even know how to put it. We saw the All or Nothing documentary together.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Oh, yes, we did.
What
There
a
was some
night.
drinking involved. It was needed.
No,
But there was
yeah, it was. It was.
But we saw that at times we didn't see Sheldon Keefe almost like have control of his team. And, a coach that has the control of his team that he needs to guide that team to the playoffs doesn't let that team, granted, a lot of it is on the team itself. They don't lose. They don't give up. They don't like blow a lead 5 out of 6 games. But that's behind us. That's behind you guys, not us. That's behind you.
You said
guys.
us. You said us.
I meant behind
Adam,
us.
you heard it.
Sketch.
Adam, you heard. You heard him say us.
I hate you.
You heard
But
it.
that's behind you guys.
Yeah.
So now, this is where you can start, because at the end of the day, from the last few years alone, I genuinely think that the Leafs have the best chance to make it to the second round this year. And it's against Tampa. Tampa, who has won the Stanley Cup the last 2 years in a row.
Why would you say that? No, before I say this, I said at the beginning of last year that Montreal would be Toronto's toughest competition.
Last year?
I said last year, when the season started, I said everyone was talking about Edmonton. I said no. Montreal is Toronto's toughest competition.
You and I both said that.
Right. Spot on. Like usual. I would have said last year was to get to the conference finals. You're going through Montreal and you're going through Winnipeg, and looking back at last year's teams versus Tampa Bay and Florida. All respect to Montreal and Winnipeg, but it's Tampa Bay and Florida. Like, those are two tough teams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, right? Is the Leafs' greatest chance is they need to win the division, because, quite frankly, the Capitals are. People are talking about it, but the Capitals lately have been kind of deflated, and I don't think they have faith in their goaltenders. Otherwise, they wouldn't try and get Marc-Andre Fleury. And they wouldn't have had to go back and get Vinny Vanacek, and Phoenix Copley wouldn't be starting games like he is. And like Zach Lucas, remember that story? It's been very quiet in Washington.
I mean, the only offense they've had is from Ovi.
Exactly. And Ovi's been kind of cold lately.
Like, to put into perspective, Tom Wilson is having a career year.
He is. All-star Tom Wilson. So to keep going where I was there, and the Bruins are just not them anymore. So the Leafs, like, to win the round, because that's the expectation, is win a round, unfortunately.
That's not the expectation. That's the necessity.
That's bare minimum. If they don't win a round,
anyway,
Keefe is fired.
They have to win a round.
Everyone's fired.
Like, have to.
Yeah.
And the best chance of that is winning the division, because I don't like them in a 7-game series against Tampa or the Panthers. Like,
neither do I.
Who would like playing those teams?
No
and by the way, I don't believe that narrative of two teams beat each other up and then they're waiting in the that's not what happens.
That's not the playoffs now.
So it's just that they need to win the division. They can do that. It helps that Marner is on another planet right now. I'm not saying that
they don't have a chance to win the division, but I don't think they're going to win the division.
They're within striking distance right now.
They are, but I really think Florida is just too good. Like, where the hell do they come from?
And it also helps that Florida has. Do they have cap space? They can find cap space probably a little bit easier than the Leafs to make a deadline addition. Like, we're talking about them adding Jacob Chikrin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to do Chikrin though, because they don't want to. It sounds like Arizona want Lundell, and that's just not going to happen. Here's the thing about Florida. I'm going to keep questioning the goaltending. I'm still going to question the goaltending, because Bobrovsky in the playoffs has had one good round in his year where they swept Tampa, and he wasn't great in the first period. And it was like the coaching move of the century when Tortorella kept Bobrovsky.
Or even look at last year. He got pulled for Spencer Knight.
They had Yeah, didn't they have 3 different goalies for the playoffs?
They had 3 goalies. I forgot who the other one is, but he literally got pulled.
Drieger.
That's it. They had Drieger. Sorry, I keep forgetting he's in Seattle now. But they literally played Knight and Drieger over after he had like one bad game, maybe one bad period. It was hilarious.
So I just pulled up the standings with points percentage. The Atlantic Division is like the top 3 is genuinely disgusting. Like it's they're all above 700. And I scroll down to the Pacific. Vegas has points percentage of 628. LA has a points percentage of 585. Anaheim has a points percentage of 573. My Lord.
Then what are the top 3 in the Atlantics?
734, 717, and then 733.
And is that who's the order there from top to bottom?
Florida, Tampa, and Toronto. Tampa is a point behind. Is a point behind Florida.
That's disgusting. And I hate it.
3 of the top 5 teams in the National Hockey League by points percentage are in the Atlantic.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know why there's something. I just feel, and I'm not rooting for them because I'm still going to be rooting for the other team. Sorry, Alex, but I genuinely think that this could be the year. I mean, we always say that every year. Every hockey fan ever is like, "Oh, the Leafs. This has to be their year, right?"
Mike, we can go back through some of our texts. I'm sure we've said some crazy things.
Of course we have, but I don't know why. I don't know. I think that this can. I don't know why, but I think we're just so used to them playing. First, you had Boston, then they just got straight up just punched in the mouth by Columbus and Montreal. But I don't know how to put it. I don't know why I have this weird feeling that they can. For once, when they played Boston, it was. Yeah. For the most part, an even matchup to the Leafs being an underdog. Like, that was the gauge. They're either the underdog or it was kind of a middle matchup, regardless of where they ended in the standings. Yeah. But Montreal and Columbus were clear underdogs to the Leafs. I just don't know why, but I think that they can respond if they're the underdog now. They've been the underdog, I guess, if you kind of look at playoff history, but they're going to be a legitimate underdog to the Tampa Bay Lightning and Florida Panthers, regardless of how the standings end. And I think, I don't know why, there's just some weird feeling in me that just it's been this many years. How can you keep losing in the first round?
Mike, I appreciate your optimism. I genuinely
You're welcome.
do.
I don't know why. I genuinely feel that way. I don't know why.
I'd like to make a note. This is the nicest Mike has talking about the Leafs since that night.
Well, I've been so nasty to Alex all year.
In May.
I've been vicious to Alex this year.
Can't repeat some of the words said in these group chats. Otherwise, may lose some people who support the show. To finish off, I want to read you guys something here. 102 likes, 24 retweets, 2,254 quote tweets on that why women's hockey doesn't belong in the Olympics article. I don't remember the last time I saw a ratio that bad in hockey, but it's there. I wanted to mention this because, I stayed up to watch the U.S.-Canada women's game. Coming off of the Habs and then the All-Star weekend, which sucked, the intensity of watching that game, and I know it's probably, the American and Canadian games. You just kind of look at the effort there and the skill, and of course, Marie-Philippe scoring that penalty shot. Of course she did. It's her. Just shut up. What an awful article. Haley Salvian had a good article that I think people should go check out too.
She had a great metaphor too that really resonated to me. China has won the last 30. Why are you laughing, Alex? China has won the last 32 of 37 ping pong tournaments, table tennis tournaments. While that is not as big of a sport, I guess, over here, no one is telling them that there shouldn't be table tennis because there's only one clear nation really that's going to dominate in it. I mean, how the hell are you supposed to grow a game if you're just gonna take it out? It's a process. It takes time to grow games. It takes a process to make games accessible and to make them more enticing to people. So I truly do believe women's hockey will become a much powerful, stronger sport and following in a matter of time. But scrapping it all together, because that just makes no logical sense.
Do you guys see who won Group B?
Was it
Japan won
Japan.
Group B.
Yeah.
Japan.
Good for them.
That's over the Czech Republic. That's over Sweden. Which I'm just trying to tell, like, hello, Matt. Like, yeah, it's just such a ridiculous thing to say.
It was such a Bush League argument too.
I couldn't even read the article because of the fact that
much.
Well, I don't have a Toronto Star subscription, so I got hit with a paywall. I don't know about you guys, but I got the gist of it from what I read all across like the Twitter sphere and stuff like
Abomination, Domination.
Yeah, literally.
That should be the title of the show. But it's like, of all the newspapers, I was surprised it was that one, by the way. It was just, what a Bush League like argument to make. Because it's not good right now, we should scrap it until it's good eventually. How does that make sense? Like, what's the Olympics there for? Other than political statements, what's the Olympics there? What's the Olympics there for?
Like
competition for the good of
competition,
sport, to grow sport for growing. You know what I mean?
Right. We gotta talk about why they're wearing masks on. I'm kidding. Sorry, I'm not touching that can of worms.
Yeah, you're gonna kill us,
like,
Mike.
There's no like investment. Investment matters. I mean, the biggest. It's not a matter of the fact that Olympic hockey or women's hockey doesn't belong at the Olympic Games. These women, these women can skate. They can shoot. They're really good. They're really good. But they just, there's no proper investment in it. What is the point of scrapping something like this altogether when there are still so many little girls growing up that are idolizing these people as these players? Like, you're just going to take that away. Like, they dream for years. And this is already a sport that already spits in the face of women's hockey when you're downright canceling tournaments instead of postponing them and not giving them chance to showcase themselves. Like, I think if they're, you just got to invest and make it work. And then you won't have to have this kind of argument.
I think, I don't know if you guys listened to, I think it was Monday's STP. I think Adam Wilde had it like spot on in terms of like the story we should be talking about is the success of programs, whether it's men's, women's, whether it's soccer, whether it's hockey, whether it's basketball. We should be talking about programs that are that have succeeded from growing from a small program to a bigger program. We're currently seeing that with Soccer Canada, and I hope someone writes that story if it's not already written. I think they talked about Germany. We have to talk about how are we going to get from point A to point B. We shouldn't be talking about we're at point A and we're never going to get to point B. Never should not be the vocabulary. We haven't put enough resources into women's hockey to say it's never going to work. Like, that's just plain false. Plain false.
You know what I love?
Tell me.
You know what's great to help build the women's game? Women, like female riders, completely, lowering the value of the game. Like, what are you thinking? What benefit do you see to writing that? Yeah, you get mad clicks from it, but you're just doing so much work undone by that.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's sensationalism. Exactly. I don't understand why sensationalism like this has to come out when women's hockey, you're just kicking them when they're down. They've had to endure so much in the last, this pandemic has put such a bigger toll. I know a girl that had to take a year off in the NCAA because of the fact that the Ivy League just couldn't support women's hockey for a year. She had to take a year off. Now, obviously, you like that shouldn't happen. She's one of those hardworking girls I've seen, and she couldn't play for a year because of that. And the same thing goes for these girls at the U18 championship. And now the same goes for anybody who has something to say about the Olympics. Even though the women's hockey in the Olympics is alive, you're basically just saying, oh, we should just, you're agreeing with these same the IHF, the same different federations that are saying, oh, well, we had to cancel it. You're basically saying, okay, well, we might as well do that for this too. And that's not right. That's not right. That's not right at all, because, we talk about growing the game so much among different races with your stupid little state, like whatchamacallit, Euro series. What do they call it? When the NHL goes global series.
Yeah, global. Yeah.
You talk about how much you're growing it, like, and you talk about how much you grow it rightfully in markets like Vegas, where we saw that they have a 300% increase in players signing up to play hockey there. That's amazing. But what has the sport done to grow the women's game? It's done what it can to grow hockey in the desert, apparently, and try and grow it across the pond in places like Finland, Germany. Look how far Germany has come as a hockey nation. But we're talking about like women hockey players who have the same type of dreams that us guys do growing up when we want to play hockey. At the end of the day, when I grow up and say I have a daughter and a son, and I got to tell my daughter, no, you can't really make millions and have the same kind of experiences as your brother if he grows up one day to play in the NHL. That's just not right. I understand viewership. I understand all that stuff. I understand how economic models work when it comes to all this stuff. But just flat out giving up on it is pathetic.
With that, I think we can end the episode. Listen.
I do have a little bit of breaking news. It's 20 minutes old, though.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure why they're doing this, but the Chicago Blackhawks are telling us everyone they're hiring or interviewing. Sorry, they interviewed Matthew Darsh for their GM position.
Poor guy. He's interviewing everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, and Craig Berube signed 3 years with St. Louis.
Yeah, great. Cool.
That's what I have to say.
All right. I had breaking news from 3 minutes ago.
What's that?
UC Saros gets the start against Dallas.
Okay, fair.
There you go.
Fair.
Also, Mark Borowiecki, cool. Non-COVID illness, will not play.
That's interesting.
I don't know why I'm getting Dallas news in my feed. Nashville, but cool. Okay, thank you for watching. You can check out Mike Roundtable Podcast, all his stuff. Check out Alex's Gubbins as well. Especially the blog.
Something coming soon.
Yeah, no, we're still waiting. Still coming soon. We're still waiting.
No, I have something planned for tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to get released, but
okay.
For Guelph, Nighthawk stuff coming soon.
Pair of videos on the YouTube channel. Ducharme's firing. St. Louis hiring. That'll be pretty funny. Yeah, check out the show on social media, Spotify, the YouTube for the visual version of it. What else can we look at? TikTok. We love the TikTok's going.
I'll leave you with a very important quote that I want you to think about, Adam.
Okay, we'll end the show with this. Voice head, thank you.
If a man does not have sauce, then he is lost. But the same man can get lost in the sauce.
Is it the lamb sauce?
No.
Wait, who said the quote? Who said the quote?
Gucci Mane.